Today's video is going to be spinning up a Amazon web server. So first thing we're going to do is go to Amazon Educate. This is assuming that you already have your account set up. So go ahead and sign into your account. So once you log in, you have all kinds of places to go for your professional credits. Just go to your AWS account. If you're new to it, you have to activate it. So mine's already activated. I just click on the Start Educator account. It takes you to another website, and then you want to always go to your Amazon AWS console. You see I have 45, I have a $50 limit, you have a $30 credit. So once you go to the console, we're going to go to the EC2. You know, I've been there many times, so it's under my recent. E2 is the server. It's an Elastic server. So we want to launch an instance. Now, if you have instances running already, you can click over here on this menu to Instance. And you can see I have 2 running. So I'm going to start a new one. So I'm going to go up to the top right, Launch Instance. This is where we pick our server software. So about halfway down, you'll find 2016 base. And it's eligible for the free server. So go ahead and select the 64-bit. Now this is telling us we're going to do a T2, and it has 1 CPU, 1 gig of memory. So we can't choose any of these other options unless you want to pay money. This is all default. It's talking about what you're actually getting from Amazon Web Servers. And then you're choosing your SSD, so it's a 30 gig. You can read down here about that magnetic. It's usually for backup because it's really, really slow. So we're going to use a SSD. We're not going to encrypt. And then you want to delete on termination. So that if you make a mistake, you can just delete the instance, and then you can do a new server. You can add a tag. I'm just going to add tag name. And then I'm going to put today's date so I can keep track of how many instances I start and running. So it's just a tag, and it'll be used for reference once we build the server. Now we're going to go to the security group. Remote desktop. That's the only way we're going to get into the server, so we have a remote desktop using port number. And then the IP is all zeros. That means any IP can access this. We should probably put your IP in there for your ISP. That way you can only get to it. We need to add a second rule. And we're going to add HTTP. So this will allow the HTTP traffic to go anywhere. So you can add your web server. So that it'll allow traffic going in through port 80, and then we can access any IP. Any IP can access. So now we're ready to review and launch. So you can look at click your tabs here. So you can click these and go through your review. So we're ready to launch. Now this is an existing key. I can't use the key because what it does is it creates an RSA hash and encrypts. So we want to do a new pair. Every server is going to have a new pair. So if we're just going to put a name on it, once again, I'm going to put today's date because I may make more today. There you go. So I need to download. Now when you download this, make sure you save it and you know where you save it. So remember it is a .pem, and you can open it with Notepad, but we want to save it. And then you have to launch the instances with this key pair because we're going to need this when it comes up for the server. So go ahead and launch. So now everything's running. So I'm going to go over here to the bottom right and go to View Instances. So here there it is. I'm waiting about 5 minutes for the password to be ready. In the meantime, I'm going to go get the password. So I go to my downloads. And there it is, the PEM file. If you double click it, you can open it up. And so what happens is, this is a RSA encryption process. This is your current password, but it's encrypted. So what's going to happen when the server's ready? Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is go get a new notepad open. What I want to do now, because I need the password in my administrator. So what I'm going to do is just copy the instance name. You can't right click on it because there's menus. So just do Control C. Okay. Now I'm going to save it as the same thing. Because if you're going to do lots of servers, you may have lots of instances running. So I just paste because the ID's there. Save it. Come down a line. Now we're going to do, if you click on the instance, and by the way, down here is your public DNS entry. So when we get done, we're going to need this also. So I can copy that, also put it in this text file. So I'm going to have all my pertinent information in a text file, because if I'm running 5 or 6 VMs, I'm going to get confused. So go ahead and click on your instance. And then we can do connect right here. So we'll do that. Let's see if the password's ready. So if we go right click on your instance and you go to security, you can get password. Now I need 4 more minutes. So what I'll do is I'll pause, wait, and then I'll cut this out. Okay, I think it's been about 4 minutes, so I'm going to right click on my instance, go to security, go down to get password. So now we're going to browse to that 1120 or 200. So there it is. I'm going to open it. So it puts it in there, and then we're going to decrypt the password. So here it is. So I copy the administrator by using a little copy. Go back to my notepad. And then copy my password. Put it in there. So you can only do this once. So if you mess this up, you're going to have to redo your server. So all that text, that RSA encrypts that password into that. So that password boils down to all this encryption. So we have this saved. I'm going to leave this open. Go back and click on your instance ID. Go over here to connect. And then over here is your RDP client, your remote desktop. Once again, I'm going to download that file. So it's going to save a RDP with the instant ID name. So we got to go to downloads. So there it is. So what this is going to do is open up remote desktop. So it's saying I'm allowed to copy, use printers, and I'm going to connect. Now at school we have this /administrator, so we need to get rid of that. At home you probably won't have this, but if you do, you do /administrator. And then we need to get our password. Copy that. Be sure you don't have any spaces. Sometimes there's a space at the beginning or end of your password. So make sure you don't have a space. Okay. Now this is, you have to accept the certificate to get in. And now the server is booting up. It's almost like a installation of Windows. So it's making my local profile. So it's the first time anybody's ever been into this server. And Server 2016 looks very similar to another operating system you're familiar with. So once we get it booted, there we go. It looks just like Windows, doesn't it? Click on Start. Now remember, in a minute, this is your server, so there's Server Manager. We're going to come back to another video with this. But you're in your VM, so I'm not in my VM. Go back down to the, see how my VM's there? So this whole screen is my VM. So the next video, we're going to talk about how to install web services. So that'll conclude this video.